Matilda should be targets. Oh, look. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
They're attacking Saison.
Yeah. Again, in their previous matchup, it's the Hayabusa in Nolan that frequently popped up in terms of the assassin pickup. So that if ever Philippines aren't careful with their banning process here, you actually might see Malaysia end up with an alpha, and then the Philippines ending up with something along the lines of a Nolan, which will get invaded on.
All right, Jushin banned down, as you guys mentioned earlier on. So what do Malaysia do? Do they go for the Fanny or what's the contest here?
They'd rather keep the Fanny open, so they'll take out the Cho. Because the Cho signals, hey, there's no more Cho, are you really going to let Fanny through? If the Fanny doesn't get banned here, then the Fanny will go through the first pick. Chip is still bannable for the Philippines. If Chip is the ban, then Fanny will get picked. If Fanny's the ban, now Chip comes into the question.
That's a catch-22. I think Malaysia, Coach Arcadia, the mastermind here, orchestrated this first pick well. Power pick for that blue side, which almost instantly neutralizes that 2-pick swing for red, which explains red's out of this world win rate in WEC24. So instead, Team Philippines says, nah. You go and try and use that Chip. I dare you, because there have been a couple of games where Chip was totally just snubbed.
Yeah. And as we predicted, it's the alpha for the first pick. If this isn't going to be a Nolan pickup later for the jungle in red 3 for the Philippines, the Julian is still an option with a Suyo God. They can go ahead and steal power picks to the Roam and EXP, contest potentially either the Khalid and Gatot, and then pick up a mid laner in the Valentina. Or sometimes an Aurora blue, red 1-2 does pick up again, does show up from time to time up against an Alpha 1.
Wow, seems like you got it all read out. Renmar is in the zone, bro.
Yeah, these are the possibilities. So Gatot comes through. Could be that Aurora. Could be that hero that
Finally.
doesn't show up as often anymore.
Spicy.
But I mean, technically, Gatot has been ignored as well. So what do you think about both of these heroes? Do you think that they're still prio? Do they still work the way that they used to?
Yes, I think it comes down to playstyle difference. So the teams that don't pick these two are teams that, for the lack of a better term, are reactive to the current metagame. The Philippines knows itself so well that they know that these are the heroes that matter to them still. So Malaysia now, I'd reckon, I don't know if it's the same priority. No, they're not going to do that. Stormy is still left up open. This is Gojes as Hylos, and the Lunox for Loliel.
Yeah, and Harith early pickup there for the Philippines does signal that them respecting the comfort pick, it seems like, for Loliel, because it seems the teams that have gone up against Malaysia have taken away Harith out of the hands for Loliel. So we'll see magic damage as the main focus here. This sort of makes me want the Philippines to veer away from the Julian option in the jungle, that it needs to be physical. It cannot be majority of your damage is going to come from magic alone. There needs to be physical damage coming in there in the jungle.
So you can hit the Nolan still.
The tough thing is it might just get invaded on.
So, hear me out. What if there's a way for them to
Bane?
No. Look for the Angelic swing. Still possible. Nope, never mind.
Yeah, no. Still the Nolan.
That's the only other option. If you're not saying Julian and you don't want to see Nolan, you try and play for the Angelic in the 2 picks after the second phase starts. But
so, with the Nolan pick coming in from the Philippines here, what type of gameplay are we looking at? Malaysia on the Alpha should have better control over the objectives.
Philippines, hit and run until you can commit with the Harith.
Yeah. Philippines needs to protect their jungle. That's the very first condition for them, and that's why they would take away the Matilda from Yumes. They don't have to worry about Yumes' Joe popping up anymore. But now, if Malaysia would want to play a playstyle wherein they could potentially start racking up wins within the first 2 turtles, then they might consider a Tigreal pickup to pair up with that Alpha and whatever mid laner that is going to end up with Malaysia, which the more I see this, I'm still leaning a little bit towards the Aurora. However, if Malaysia want to play a little bit more map crazy, Loi is still an option for them. That actually slipped my mind that the Jawhead is one of the top 2 picks of Gomez in the tournament so far, and Malaysia has taken that away. So this might be one of a relatively newer roam pickup here for Gomez.
He could just pick a Gatot. It could be right there and there.
Yeah, that could already be the roam. Gatot EXP has fallen out of favor for a good amount of teams. They usually just park it in the roam.
Okay. What about the Khalid? Khalid is an option. And the Edith, what do you think about the Edith here?
Oh, thank you for reminding me about Edith. That's someone who I'd forgotten a little bit. The problem with the Edith right now is, again, that will make them very magic-coded heavy. With a Gacha in the row, potentially an Edith EXP, and then you go, of course, a mid-lane mage. That's a lot of magic damage early on. That, yes, there's a line of thought that you can build an early snowball from that, but once a Radiant armor start coming in, then that magic damage isn't going to do much.
Coach Munsayak here might actually be onto something. They're not so sold on the fact that this Hylos might actually go into the hands of Yumes. Rather, the hands of Gojes, because it might still be Yumes. They're covering that base. They still banned out of Phoveus.
So if ever they pick up a mid laner here, that might signal them saying, okay, we're thinking that this is actually an EXP Hylos. Because Hilda is still up in the air right now.
And Khalid.
Oh, it's Malaysia that bans away the Tigreal. I mean, we did pose a possibility that Gomez might pick up the Tigreal here now. So yeah, maybe actually we are already seeing the roamer of Yumes and we still don't see the EXP laner of Gojes.
Remember, Khalid is still open, right? If they want to go that route. But for the Philippines, you guys mentioned once again, they need to be able to protect this Nolan. The question is how?
Mid laners, I think the mid laner is going to do their darndest to rotate around with the roamer. The would-be roamer, we still don't know where this Gatos going. I like the Aurora, especially if there's a Hylos on the other end. Just plop an Aurora there. Stop that man horse.
Yeah. The Aurora or the Vex, either. What do you prefer? I'm okay with both, but do you have a preference?
I would prefer if Team Philippines tempered their aggression, because with this Louis pick alone, they're saying we're not protecting Nolan, we're not protecting Saison. Sekai's better watch out for his backside.
It's good, folks. And actually, if this is Rome, Hylos might actually have his work cut out for him in terms of being able to get vision. He might just end up getting poked down if this is a Rome Hylos.
What a draft! Like twists on twists, back and forth. Either team accepting the fact that they're reactive because they're still putting out switches. And here we go, the Edith, which I think will be in the Rome. We've seen more Rome Ediths in the playoffs as compared to the XP. And the Valentina, was it stealing?
But here's the thing, guys. Like, that's the beauty of Hylos and Edith, because you can still flex. Because technically the Philippines, they haven't opened that card either.
Yeah.
So they can flex it either way to whichever matchup suits them.
Well, both teams can do that, because we don't know where the Gatot's going, and Team Philippines has the final say. They have this last pick here. And I'm looking at Malaysia. I feel like they're playing this Valentina the way Saudi Arabia is playing their Valentina earlier. Not necessarily for stealing ults, but more for just that early to mid-game spike, how useful in the paint a Valentina is.
Yeah. You did mention that you don't think it's not just for the ults, but then I'm reminded of what Coffin did, stealing away the Khalids, and of course, Eternus been mentioning the Khalids. The Philippines decides to default and pick the safest EXP laner that you can get in this.
Play your game perfect, but hey, Philippines has been able to do that.
Well, we're going to find out exactly what unfolds here. Again, game number one, prominent and so decisive for a series in the best of three grand final. Will it be the Philippines to draw first blood, or will it be Malaysia to set the pace in the series?
And it's already a bit different here, right? Best of three means that game one momentum is so important.
Yeah.
If you get a game one in the best of five, say you could say, all right, we're experimenting in game one. We're trying to warm up, but in a best of three, you need all the points you can get, man. 2-0 and it's done.
The pressure is on, and also you have to take a look at, once again, the lineups like our panel broke it down for us. The mainstay is the fact that this time around, you know, last series we didn't see too much Revitalize action, but there's two here across the board, one for each team on both sides. Of course, Gomez with the Gatakacha, and then you have Gojes running that Hylos. The Revitalizes change the course and the pace of a lot of team fights, especially when we're talking about early objectives, how things get set up, because, you know, the main thing too is when you throw in a Valentina in the wrench, right? The Valentina there, you're going to be looking at, okay, what ultimates play a part in the role from start to finish of the game? And a lot of times, yeah, I like that Renmar mentioned this out. You know, you have this Tarizla now across from you that the Philippines decided to draft. That's another plus initiation that you have if Stormy decides, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and take that penalty zone, and I'm going to use the Flicker to set things up, and then you can cut people off or set things up too with just having an Edith for Yumes.
On top of the fact that Valentina is a comfort pick for Stormy, It's one of his favorite picks, if not it is actually his favorite pick. It's great against the Nolan. If you have dashes in your kit, getting out of the fracture stacks is just so easy. And that's why for Saison, it's going to be really, really tough to actually catch this Valentina. My question is, who's the real target for the Nolan right now, right?
Yeah.
Because for Gojes on the high lows, I don't think he's the right target to go for either. I think Alpha, when he gets CC, probably, but there's already a skirmish up top. Level 4 for Fernandez first.
I guess the right target for right now is to go ahead and just focus on this turtle. Both teams, though, going to kind of take their time. Again, these level 4s are very crucial for both the teams on how they win these team fights early on. Gomez nearly there. Going to charge up the Unbreakable. Penalty zone already used, though. Not sure, do they commit?
Great dodge from Yums with the onward to escape from the penalty zone, baiting out the flicker too. So 2 big resources used up. Stormy gonna be caught at the taunt, and the yin-yang reaction flickers out to safety just barely. Sky's on it. Great glorious pathway and a stun from Gojes. Amazing zoning from Gojes, and that's Turtle 1 for Malaysia.
Great zoning, a great response. I mean, they burned the flicker from Stormy, right? But ultimately, it was all part of the plan for Malaysia. They go ahead and using that glorious pathway, that's what I was talking about earlier, between the Edith and having the Hylos. There's so many options for you to go ahead and either sandwich play, cut people off from actually entering that objective zone, and that's what we saw exactly happen. Again, Revitalize wasn't even needed, and so it's the disciplined, clean approach for that first turtle. Philippines, once again, you know, it's nothing too crazy. You're only looking at a couple hundred gold difference. So then you have to start to look at where are the plays going to be made with these diversions.
There you go, onto Yums, but still a bit too tanky. Just gets out with the onward and recalls away. And really, man, we've seen that Malaysia, they've been able to hold out. This is a really good job by Gomez, trying to stagger that recall timing so they have more pressure, more tempo to put on the map. Skies, no, he won't go for it.
Yeah, he's not going to go for that. Again, we've been seeing this pick so much. See a little damage check there from Saison. Stormy's going to be fine, but the Alpha, man, I don't know how many times, I'm sure our panel knows, like, how many times this Alpha has been first picked on the blue side.
Yeah.
You know, it's picked up so often. I guess so far, at least through these stages, we've seen, you know, even the surprise Hilda pick up. Oh, Gojes, he's fine. He's got the Revitalize, he's got the Glorious Pathway. But, again, Alpha is such a big pickup, so much value for any team draft, really. Like, he fits in so many different kind of combinations for what they want to go with, and you know, it's kind of hard to kill too, especially when you have such a front line that protects you. My biggest thing too is we saw the Lunox, what was that, just yesterday, parked in the mid lane. It was okay, but I think it was just not part of the game plan. This time around that it's in the gold lane for Lolio, it's a little bit different on how this plays a part. Do you think he has enough time? Again, it's a matchup between Lunox and Harith to shine later mid-game.
It's going to be really tough, I feel, for the Harith. Around the first few neutral objectives, Lunox, hold up, penalty zone. We're on a go, just still a lot of damage. Plays on for Fernandez. Forced to use the flicker. Yums are doing the primal rat. Torres in the back now, popping his bond force. That's going to be the AOG, but Yums flickers out of it. Saison unable to go for the retry. Yums almost surviving, but Torres claims first blood. It is a 4th minute first blood. Turtle number 2, however, going to Malaysia.
Man, I'm surprised. You know, Stormy held on to that penalty zone. He didn't use it. He had the flicker available too. They might have been, oh, there it is. As I say it, jumps in. I don't think he can get anything, but enough to go ahead and pop a little bit of damage off. But that last exchange, what we're seeing here, Mirko, is just Malaysia playing that disciplined route. They go for these objectives. They secure 2 turtles now. They don't have to force a fight if they don't want to. A lot of it is just, again, surviving that initial initiation or aggression from the Philippines, like, you know, we heard mentioned, especially with the composition, but they don't have to get the kills. They don't have to do any of that.
See, with the Glorious Pathway, Gomez trying to go for the tanky, soak in that damage as much as possible. But the yin-yang reaction was enough to just zone them away from that turret. An easy take for Lolio down below in this winning matchup, Lunox versus Harith.
See what I mean? Like, it's mostly just we're not going for kills. We're just getting objectives. We're just getting turrets and turtles, and it's going to build us this small lead slowly but surely, and that's what they're looking at because, you know, the first items are coming in and being locked in, and those small little wins across the map is exactly what we know wins games. A diversion to this side of the map, we'll see how it's going to be responded. Again, Philippines looking for their own possible setup, and we've seen teams kind of struggle with this in a way. Like, how do we counterplay into this Louis Yi? How do we counter the diversions in our side of the jungle if we have to? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but right now, Stormy's still choosing to hold on to the penalty zone to actually have a response if maybe Yums catches someone or they find their own setup potential, but this is now the third turtle coming up in about 10 seconds. We'll see if Philippines actually wants to contest, if they're in a position to win a team fight, win objective, but they know Gojez is there. Gomez still not quite, tanky enough to actually just front side. He's got to rely on Fernandez too.
Yep.
So it's up. They're going to square each other off. Trying to find this. I feel like this is the trouble with a Nolan against an Alpha. You got to find it here.
Penalty zone from Fernandez over the skies right now. You can see the damage coming down. Saison able to get the retribution as he dashes forward. Yin reaction over to Yomes. Fernandez will be the sacrifice for the neutral objective. 1-1.
It's a great way to put it. I was wondering if they wanted to contest that last turtle of the game, and they do. They send in Fernandez, his body for the turtle. Gomez will take a couple shots. Trying to hold down this mid-tier 1. He's tanky enough now, has the passive as well from the Gatakachi. He's going to be fine, goes back to base, but ultimately I would say, Philippines is happy with that. At least they go ahead and get the objective, the turtle. And if you're noticing, right, they're still playing on the macro level. Despite how clean and I would say low kill this game has been so far, it's pretty much even in terms of economy. They're just trying to hold on to the space when it comes to these turrets.
It's all about reaching their item power spikes in the mid-game for the control later on. And honestly, if we talk about the late game, right, in terms of damage output, and in terms of creativity, I think creativity, I have to give it over towards the Philippines with the low E. They're going to have a lot of different angles of attack. They also have a Nolan that can constantly look for trades across the map. Macro advantage definitely seems to be the Filipino advantage here as we get into the late stage. But if it comes to damage output, they got a Lunox.
Yeah.
They got an Edith as well with a Primal Wrath. And honestly, Skies who can shred down the Gotham, can't just shred down even the Terizla here. Frontliners going to have a tough time. So, I don't know. So far, very 50-50. Like you said, gold lead is non-existent at this point. Both of them are just farming. Both of them are just waiting for the next neutral objective. And it'll come down to those creative little angles from Galantes. If he can find the perfect diversion to maybe get a possible flank to take down Stormy or Lolio before the fight, that's the win angle.
And I think that's why when we look at this kind of game, when you're in this kind of pacing, because again, if you guys have been watching us through the live streams, like this is a very different pacing, right? It's much slower than what we've seen in the past games. And part of that, again, is, yes, the creativity that can come from the Philippines. And that's why I think Malaysia, their draft was so good, because there's so many answers to that creativity that is going to be shown from the Philippines. This time around, though, Malaysia will start up the objective again. About half health here. I'm not sure if they fully commit to this. Buffs are up, too. They could choose to go ahead and focus on those. Saison gets the read. Took the orange on the other side just by himself. Still, no team actually committing to it just yet. It's still holding. Sakai's holding it at half. A turret does go down. There's a push, though.
Where is Pathway? Gorgeous, great targeting. Into the back, he goes down with the AOG, locking Skies down. Saison doesn't get it. It's going to be Skies who wins out the red tree battle. Fernandez with the flanker, but Young will chase him down with the Primal Wrath. One last shot is all he needs, but Galantes is there to peel him away. It is one kill over to Malaysia and a big Lord too.
A big objective locked in and secured for Malaysia. Surprisingly, again, that passive, the body of Smith for that Terizla, keeping Fernandez alive, and I'm surprised, again, that Primal Wrath wasn't enough from Humes, even with a Warcry emblem, but unfortunately, no one goes down there. For Malaysia, they can play into this Lord. It's going to be pushing in the mid. They're looking to just, at this point, get some more turrets. That top one on the tier 1 will go down, opens that up. Their main job here, because of this clear, is hopefully they get some tier 2s. I don't think they're going to be knocking on the Holy Shields. Philippines should be able to go ahead and maintain that. Gojez, though, will go in for that cutoff, trying to keep them from pressing on forward, but the tier 2 mid will go down. And maybe this is, again, at that point where you're looking at the power spikes. Is it there? Stormy grabs the Avatar, the Guardian ultimate. Look at the push happening.
Wow.
Saison goes in, gets his own tier 2. And mind you, this is what happens, Miracle. We've seen this so many times. Oh, hold on. Are they going to go for their own sandwich play?
AOG, they know they're kind of split up right now. Diversion as well going to be utilized. Saison able to cut off Skies from the rest of the team.
Oh, he forced him
Spear of Alpha. Now is asking the Purify coming down with also Lolio jumping with the Chaos. Fernandez putting the hammer down. Torres still able to kite away. That's a brilliant. Saison going to be caught now. Stunned up by Gorgeous and taken down by Stormy. Fernandez on the run. That's Skies with the Spear of Alpha on the chase for the Filipino team.
They don't.
Torres gets splashed in the bush. Stormy gets the double. An amazing read from Malaysia.
Man, Stormy's been holding on that flicker for the majority of the game, but that one he knew. He's here, I'm grabbing that kill. Stormy, we talked about the Valentina for him, and right now he is locked in 3-0-1. They're going to go for the mid turret.
Let's see if they can clear it out. They still have Fernandez on to Terizla. Oh, a ton over to Sky. Spear of Alpha defensively.
Oh.
Penalty zone onto 3 from Fernandez. Locking him down with the AOG. Stormy knocked up again.
Diversion.
A diversion off angle to the side. Galante spotted. Gorgeous will be the one to be sacrificed here. Let's see. Oh, none of the shots connecting.
What a sidestep.
Gorgeous still able to survive. One last shot should do it. And the glowing wand will burn him down.
Man, Philippines, they had to work for that, though. They
really
had
did.
to turn that around some way. But Malaysia has been just winning these fights. And really, it's the lineup that's working in their favor here. Again, going back before on that broken, Saison, he pushed that tier 2 turret. He got it down, able to get something out of it. And this is always something you have to watch out for when a Nolan is picked up. They like to just go ahead and push. Again, they're going to go ahead and just get in position using that diversion. They know this Lord is up in less than 10. And so the Philippines will go ahead and play around the fact that, again, they have that space towards that bottom side. And this is where we have to see here, too. You know, again, this Lunox picks this Loliel here. Does he have enough damage to go actually and shred someone down? This is very difficult for Philippines, too, the way they approach these fights. Because of the fact you just have a very tanky front line. Look at the angle on the backside.
With a conceal, Youm's able to find onward, forcing to purify out. Now Torres dashing away with his on force. One last shot, Loliel finding the fadeaway. Gomez trying to save the rest of the team right now. The Spear of Alpha will hit him, and Stormy just eliminates him, takes the kill away. 2 members picked off away from Team Philippines. A diversion already being hovered over. Let's see where they go. They try to go for a steal. A desperate steal attempt now. Saison in the bottom lane, Bush again, Spear of Alpha on top of the Earth Shatter. Fernandez taken down. That's 3 members down. Yums will go over to check on the Bush. Yums unable to go for Saison, but it's all just about the escape for him right now. It's about to fracture, and Gorgeous zones him away. There was even a penalty zone from Stormy.
A good attempt at trying to go, hey, you know what, we don't have any other option. Might as well put Saison in the bush to try to get a steal. But man, Malaysia, their game sense, they know this. They go and spot it out with Yums and even forcing out that retribution to survive. So again, great play there from Malaysia. Great usage of everything, all the tools that they have to win these little fights, these decisive fights, and turn things in their favor. So now, again, they march in with the Lord here, looking to take these base turrets down. Saison's going to go ahead and push that tier 2 on the top. And they always have to maintain this because we've seen this time and time again where a Nolan from different teams is picked up and he's pushing into the base now. So they're going to have to go for a 4-man defense against this Lord point from Malaysia. Is he going for the end? No, Stormy's there.
There's a cannon in Yums, goes in for the flicker as well. Stormy has recalled Loliel. Go over the combo in the back. Torres is still able to survive. Winter Crown coming down. Loliel going to be taken down by Fernandez. Penalty zone from Fernandez into the AOT for Gomez. Still, the enhanced Lord is up, but Torres is right there. Skies won't be able to take them down. And Team Philippines somehow, some way, they defend against Malaysia.
Somehow, some way, the combination of the ultimates and just well-timed. Again, a distraction. I mean, how many diversions do they have? They have the one from Louis, and then they have Saison. And this is what I was talking about earlier with the Nolan, man. They're going to put him in one of the lanes, force a response from Malaysia, and they just turned what should have been a dire situation, possibly game-ending, to now they're running down mid to get turrets. Talk about IQ in the game. And now Philippines, what more do they get from this turnaround?
The fact that they got a base turret up top with Saison on the Nolan. We were talking about this, Naisu, right? As we get into the later stage of the game, this Nolan is going to be a big threat in the side lanes. And we saw that and I mean, this is just crazy. The fact that they got the base turret was already good, but it's the base turret in the far lane. Far lane away from the next neutral objective. It's going to be really tough now for Malaysia to handle that. The fact that Philippines still have more macro control because they have a diversion, and on top of that, they have a Nolan, and they have to just deal with the far lane somehow, because it's very possible that we see a split push from Team Philippines up top.
You have to remember, this is such a weird situation to be in where, again, you are controlling, if you're Malaysia, you're controlling that pace, you're knocking on the base turrets, you got 2 of them down from the Philippines. But because of the mere fact that, again, you're playing against a diversion, and they could easily just, if they wanted to ignore the next Lord coming up here, send Saison somewhere to push the map, they can completely do that if they want to. Not to mention there can be fake out diversions too. That's all part of the creativity that we mentioned earlier on. So Malaysia finds themselves in a precarious situation approaching this next objective.
The good thing about this Lunox pick for Malaysia is they might not even need to care about the side lane control. They have a Lunox together with an Alpha, so you can actually burst down the Lord real quick, right? That should be the angle of attack for Malaysia right now, and they actually are holding onto the Lord. This is an enhanced Lord, not an evolved Lord just yet. We are not at the 18th minute of the game. But it does seem like for Team Philippines, they're the ones sending Loyi up top. This is it.
Loyi's there, handling the wave. A fourth of the health on the Lord here. Saison goes!
Go! Saison with the assassination. Loliel goes boom! In the back now, it's going to be an all-out fight, and Skies wins out the Stormy battle. Saison with the immortality by a Storm is going to be very low. Torres takes him down. Still, Calteezy taken out by Skies. Pops him in the ground as the AOG comes around as well. A great immortality buy from Skies right now. That's to be Torres jumping in. Skies, Spear of Alpha, but Torres gets the double. Malaysia win the neutral objective, but Philippines win the fight.
They win the fight. They're starting to slowly but surely turn things in their favor. Yes, you get the Lord. You're able to buy some more time. You need that time for the 3 members of Malaysia to come back up. But Philippines will go ahead and clear this out relatively quickly, utilizing their ultimates and everything else to clear things and push into these base turrets if they can. Saison, decisive assassination at the bottom there before that Lord take. And again, you're playing around the fact, look at the range here. You're getting a preview of the range on that diversion, obviously maxed at this point, and it's relatively close still. This game is so close, it's still a 50-50, and this is where you start to see the brain work of both the teams,
Ridiculous
right?
stuff.
The way that they play the macro level, and at the highest level, mind you, is what is going to separate this game, number one. Remember, it's a best of 3, man, so all this, again, diversion gonna be used. They're looking for their own setup here behind enemy territory. Gojez, though.
Taunt comes in. You're having enough damage to burst. Gorgeous down. Oh my god, they do! Even with the revitalize, Gorgeous gets taken out.
That's a little bit too much damage. Big damn coming out from Philippines, and now knowing their numbers advantage in their favor, they'll handle those waves. They still gonna handle the top 2. This might be an opportunity where they're able to get closer to the base, but because of the way that, again, this lineup is from Malaysia, they need to go ahead and do that a couple times, or even just win the next Lord. They're in a relatively good position, though, if they keep pressure here on this side of the map, to have that advantage when it comes to the Lord. Because remember, even if they feign the Lord take in less than a minute, they can always send someone on that top side to push in, and that's something that Malaysia has to look out for. Whoa!
Loliel almost getting the kill back again. Whoa. Penalty zone though locks him down. Gomez going for the taunt, and again Loliel will be caught. Great recovery from Stormy. Does he have the flicker to go for the chase on the Saison? He has the flicker, but Saison buys the immortality just right in time. It's going to be a chase from Stormy. Torres walking back again to win a crown bot from Saison as Stormy walks up again. It'll be a kill on the other side. Fernandez taken out. Gomez buys the winner crown, uses it in time, pops in to revitalize, but it's not enough to keep him alive. Torres has to be very careful. 20 seconds on the clock for an evolved Lord.
Oh, a little messy there from Philippines. They had to respond to that, and they're going to have to go back to base. And this could also mean that that Lord goes in the hands of Malaysia, so they're going to have to pull something creative off again. They still have Torres, they still have Saison. Timers-wise, Galantas will be back up too, so they can still play again with this diversion. Loliel did so much damage, though. Uh-oh, once again, he's going to have to clear this out. Lord's going to be started up. How do they approach this? Look at the positioning. Pay attention to where Philippines goes across the map. Torres given all the information on what's going on here with this Lord. He's going to swing back around. There's the diversion.
Diversion into the bush. Galantas will take it. Skies wins out the red tree, takes it for the team. Saison in the back line, trying to go for the assassination. Great brilliance timing. Stormy able to get him. Terrified for Gorgeous to stun.
Those micro decisions, man. Every single time throughout this game, I mean, we're 21 minutes in, but those small moments, even with Loliel using the brilliance to survive that burst, helps them stay in this a little bit longer. So once again, they'll push in with a pretty beefed up Lord this time around. This is going to be quite the fancy footwork that Philippines has to pull off to stay in this game. Fernandez also picking up the Athena shield. They know they're being overloaded with magic damage right now as Malaysia walks in with this Lord. Saison still 15 seconds away. Can Philippines defend this with 4?
It's going to be very tough. Glorious pathway in the back line. Fernandez trying to go for the front line as well. Skies bursts it down. There's Gomez jumps in as well. It's going to be the immortality buy from Skies. Is that the penalty zone used up earlier? Winner crown used up. Gomez, AOG to the back, unable to find anyone. That's Torres falling down. Galantes is next. Stormy has a killing spree, and Malaysia claims match point in the grand finals.
Malaysia, you can't count them out, but man, what a game one showcased us here. Again, it's a best of 3, so yes, you heard right, they're at match point from being crowned the WEC 2024 champions here at IESF. Still, for me, a game that was almost just 50-50 for the majority, but man, Malaysia, they really adjusted on the fly. You have to respect the fact that they were able